I said last week as we move on to the Seattle Seahawks, the Seahawks need to win this football game to stay alive. Well, maybe that was a little bit hyperbole. They needed to get some wins racked up as we come down the second half of the season, and they did get a big one this last week behind a couple young guys.
No, the young guys. You talk about Tyler Lockett and Thomas Rawls, two young players that are stepping into big roles on offense and giving them the energy that they needed. And looking at Tyler Lockett specifically, they've needed a dynamic playmaker on the outside. Doug Baldwin, Chop Curse, those guys have been good. Undrafted free agents, they've given them key contributions. Doug Baldwin is a terrific slot receiver. But they needed some juice. They needed someone who could take the top off the defense, someone who could win against one-on-one coverage and add that vertical dimension to the passing game. Tyler Lockett has done that. At K-State, I thought he was a terrific route runner. I thought he understood how to get open, was sneaky with his savvy and the way he set people up, and we knew about the return skills. His ability to make plays as a catch-and-run artist adds an element to that offense, one that they can exploit, and I think they will exploit down the stretch.
To me, the 2 touchdowns specifically, something we've talked about on here before, verticals from the slot. You get down in that red area. That is the money play right now in the NFL. You've got all that room to work, a lot of room for that ball to go, get on top, put your speed in the slot and go get it. And then number 2, the strength and the power he had to be able to carry defenders in on that second one. Underrated in Lockett's game, just how strong he is.
Yeah, strong. Look, he's a returner. He was a big-time returner at K-State, a guy that really specialized in putting punts and kickoffs in the paint, scoring touchdowns on that. So when you take him and you put him in offense, you're getting a guy that is terrific in space, understands how to maneuver in traffic. They can take advantage of that. I think they need to do more of that to really complement their run game.
We got Beast Mode 2.0 here with Rawls?
Oh, I think Rawls is the real deal. I think he's the real deal. The fact that he has 300-yard games already this season. Every time he's had opportunities, ample opportunities to touch the ball, he's delivered. You're talking about a guy that comes out of Central Michigan after starting out at the University of Michigan. He is physical, runs well between the tackles, but also has the element to catch the ball out the backfield. His vision, balance, body control is not quite on par with Marshawn Lynch, but it allows you to run the same offense. And in fact, they've been more productive when he's been at the dot back running the ball.
How about the way he just lowers his head at the end of every single run and puts it in the chest of defenders? A lot of times you talk about lowering your shoulder. He's like old school Earl Campbell. He throws his head in there.
I don't advise it for young kids, but he is a physical running back. He has a little more juice than Marshawn. I think this is a great find for the Seattle Seahawks because you still need Marshawn Lynch down the stretch. You still need beast mode to kind of help you get to where you want to get to in the postseason. But this guy can take some of the pressure, some of the burden off of Marshawn Lynch having to carry that offense. He can be that supplement. So now you have a 1-2 punch in the backfield running the ball, and you also have a young guy, Tyler Lockett. I like where the Seahawks are headed.
One scouting note on him before we move on. I know TD's chomping at the bit to get some Russell Wilson talk. We've talked about the Seahawks for a couple minutes now. We haven't touched on Russell Wilson. TD's scratching the glass back there trying to jump in on this conversation. But Rawls ran 4.65 verified when he came out. 40 time for backs. Don't get carried away with it. I think Arian Foster might have ran high 4.6, low 4.7. We've seen a lot of really good runners in this league with 40 times in that mid 4.6 range.
Yeah, and in fact, I prefer a running back that is not necessarily the fastest. I want a guy that's patient and he understands how to win in that 20-yard box. Because more times than not in the National Football League, you really don't see a lot of breakaway runs, but does he have the pitter-pat, the balance and body control to make it happen in those tight quarters? Because it's about gaining first downs that eventually lead to touchdowns. Thomas Rawls can do that. He was undrafted, but I think what we're seeing is a guy that is a perfect fit for what they want to do in their zone running scheme.
TD, I don't think you played baseball growing up, but I would imagine if
played some cricket.
You played cricket?
Yeah.
Do they have an on-deck circle for cricket? Like if you're the next guy up?
That was a long time ago. I don't recall.
You don't know if they do? Maybe somebody that's listening can shoot us a note.
Zach Goldman, the gold standard, he's a big cricket fan, as is Handsome Hank on a Dave Damashek.
Okay, we'll see if one of those guys can help us out. I don't know if they have an on-deck circle because I imagine TD like in the on-deck circle, and then when it's his turn, like he runs from the on-deck circle.
He runs in.
And then, that's
I wonder if TD would have a little walkout music. I know you're not a big baseball fan, but as a baseball player, you got to have a little walkout, a little something to kind of let people know what you're about.
No question. I don't have one right now. I can give a top 5, though, next show. Walkout music.
He likes to rank it and bank it.
He likes ranking and banking.
Give us your Russell Wilson
real quick,
question
just to recap on Rawls. So we've heard that Rawls is the real deal. He's also like Earl Campbell and has more juice than Marshawn. That's what we just learned about Thomas Rawls. Right?
Current Marshawn. Young Marshawn had more top speed than Rawls.
Young Marshawn had a little more. But right now, in this current moment, he has a little more juice, a little more pop and burst than Marshawn. Yes.
All right, what you got, TD?
Speaking of juice, Russell Wilson, a lot of reports coming out right now, sort of questioning the man's dedication and his preparation to the game, how he's approached the season. Obviously, we all know what he's into off the field. Have you guys been seeing anything different from Russell this year, or is it just like, hey, expectations are much higher, his offensive line is not as good? What do you guys think?
TD, I'm going to go back to Puffy and that crew. I'm going to go back. More money, more problems. So as soon as you get paid, the expectation changes. And so for Russell Wilson, he got paid in the offseason. So people want to see him play like a $20 million quarterback. The problem is this team isn't constructed to play as a pass-first team. They want to run the ball, allow him to be a complementary player. And so I don't see anything necessarily wrong with his game. I see a team that doesn't have an offensive line that necessarily supports him and allows him to be kind of like a premier passer. But I do see a winning quarterback, a guy that can get it done, a guy that presents problems with his legs and with his arm. And as long as they're able to keep the game close, meaning the defense is playing well, he still can do the things that he's done previously. And I expect him to get back to that as they make this playoff run.
I still see the same guy I've always seen, so I don't really get the drop-off. I think you guys hit on it, the fact that expectations change with the money. But I see a guy, even number-wise, completion percentage is up. I know his interception maybe is up a little bit, his interception total, but stats-wise, maybe just not being quite as aggressive as a runner. Part of that comes with being paid. Hey, we need you healthy. We can't have you being as aggressive as a runner. Maybe I'd like to see him be a little bit more aggressive in that area. But I think I'm seeing the same Russell Wilson I've always seen. The one thing about the off-the-field stuff, we've heard this forever. We heard it about. Remember with Peyton Manning? Peyton Manning's in too many commercials.
Yes.
He's not focused. He's got his attention on everything else. Life after football. This is not new to hear a quarterback be criticized for some of his off-field pursuits.
Quarterbacks are the stars of the team. Quarterbacks are the face of the National Football League, so they get all the opportunities off the field. You can't expect those guys to always be football only. They don't kind of delve into other ventures. I think the big thing when you're looking at their endeavors, does it take away from their time at the facility? Does it take away from the time that they're supposed to devote to preparing? I don't think Russell Wilson is a guy that you have to worry about that. I would worry about it if I felt like his game had really depreciated or declined significantly. I don't think so. I think he's still a winning quarterback. I think he's still the same guy.
Posed pictures. I'm not a huge fan of the posed.
Well, I mean, that's who he
pictures,
is.
But
I mean, that's who he is. And he dates a quasi-celebrity in Sierra, so there's going to be a little more attention to it. He's going to be embossing Us Weekly because he goes out with somebody who's notable.